Part 2. Waterloo Cornfield. Palindromes. Chris Zerba was Catholic. He smoked cigarettes. Christopher Zerba was Catholic. He did not give up smoking cigarettes when he gave up the excess consonants. All of Zerba's boys were cigarette-smoking Catholics until my father fell in love with my mother and married her. He quit smoking, converted, and as a result, his semen created 2 strong Lutheran sons inside her body. Their names were Eric Christopher and Austin Ansdredge Zerba. My dad picked up some discarded consonants from a waste pile of history. It is pronounced Unge. Don't ask me why. It's Polish and shit. I smoke cigarettes. I hate church. But one day, after I talk to my father about my confusing sexual impulses, I will change my name back to Zerba. My father's name was Eric Andrew Zerba. My mother was Connie Kenny before she married him. People from Iowa like vowels and rhymes. Lutherans in Iowa like John Deere tractors and big breakfasts on Saturdays. And usually, my dad would only have to stand outside my door and speak my name to get me out of bed for Saturday breakfast. That morning, the morning after Robbie and I went up on the roof of Ealing Mall to find some shit, my father had to come into my room and shake my shoulder. "You stink, Austin," my father, whose name was Eric, told me. "I have BO," I agreed. "Ingrid needs to shit," my father said. That's how we told each other good morning that day. I sat up. I would have gotten out of bed, but I realized I was naked under the sheet. I'd taken everything off when I finished writing when I went to bed. No 16-year-old boy wants to stand up in front of his father, naked. I thought about my decision to talk to him. Wanted to ask him if maybe he was confused about sexual attraction when he was my age, or if maybe he's still confused about sexual attraction, experimenting, things falling into place. Where else would things fall if not a place? It's not like things are just going to float away. Gravity works. Dr. Grady McKeon certainly knew that when he was watching the Gulf of Mexico get closer and closer. Maybe the guys who painted the caves in Lacao and Altamira were sexually confused too. Could not bring myself to talk to my father about sexuality while I was naked. I decided it could wait. Things would have to float a little while longer. My father could tell I was naked. He watched me, like he was testing to see if I would get out from under the sheet. But I was naked. I wasn't going anywhere. We watched each other, both of us caught up in the eyeballing the palindrome of each other's lives. My mother took an anti-anxiety drug called Xanax. It was a little blue pill that looked like a tiny kayak. Robbie's mother took it too. Our moms were like Xanax sisters, except they didn't know much more about each other than first names, who their baby's boys' best friends were, and Ealing gossip. Kayak and Xanax are palindromes. Robbie's mother was named Connie, too. It was always fascinating to me how perfect things could be if you just let all of the connections happen. My history showed how everything connected in Ealing, Iowa. You could never get everything in a book. Good books are always about everything. My mother would take her anti-anxiety drug when she felt stress or panic setting in. Saturday mornings usually meant no drugs. She took her drugs in the afternoon on holidays, and whenever she had visiting human beings at the house. Dad? Yes, Austin? Would you please let Ingrid outside for me so she can shit? No problem, son. I got out of bed and pulled on some shorts. I stunk. My phone was lying on the floor, under the rumpled boxers I wore the day before. No fire trucks and dogs. They were blue plaid. Iowa's blue plaid. That is the truth. The battery in my phone was nearly dead. At 3:45, I received a text message from Robbie. It said, "I'm sorry, Austin." Robbie and I always use punctuation and spelling in text messages. We both despised abbreviations. I sent him a message in reply. "Don't be dumb, Robbie." I was certain Robbie was asleep at the precise moment. I felt bad for calling him dumb, like maybe you would take it the wrong way and not know if I meant dumb for asking to kiss me or dumb for being sorry, which is what I meant. So I sent him another message. "Shouldn't worry about me, Rob. Let's talk and have a fag later. Ha ha. Now relax and come meet me at Satan's after I get off at 5. Bring boards." I was so confused. That was true. A bath, a shave, and modesty. I am Polish. My hair color is of potato peels, and I have skin a shade of boxed oatmeal. Food descriptions work well in Iowa. Polish kids have natural and persistent bags under their eyes. I think we evolved through a lot of sleepless nights or shit like that. If you read the history of Poland, which I have done, you'd probably just shake your head and say, "That is full of shit." I'm Chris Zizerba's great-great-grandson. That is the only thing I know about myself with absolute certainty. I think I would like to smoke a cigarette with him. I have a feeling Chris Zizerba could cuss, had hair the color of russet potatoes and Quaker oats skin, just like me. I feel like I could ask him anything. He would tell me what to do. He came to America when Theodore Roosevelt, a man who apparently never took a shit in his life, was president. Connie, my mother, drove me to work at Johnny McKeon's from attic to cellar consignment store that morning. I did not have a big Lutheran Saturday breakfast with my mother and father because I needed a bath more. On Saturdays I shave. I did not actually need to shave. It is something that boys in Iowa start doing when they are 16, regardless of necessity. I ran the tip of my finger around my lips before applying the shaving cream. Robbie's lips had some spiny little whiskers around them. I felt them when we kissed. I found the feeling to be a little unexpected. Also, his lips were thinner, not as heavy as Shan's. I never thought about it before. How maybe Shan felt spiny little whiskers around my thin, unmeaty lips when we kissed. I was disgusted with myself. I called Shan while the bathtub was filling, and I sat on the toilet, locked inside the bathroom. My mother and father ate their big Lutheran Saturday breakfast downstairs. I told Shan I loved her. She said she loved me. I was naked, so I knew I was telling the truth. Also, Shan did not say I love you too. Everyone knows I love you too does not mean I love you. The two makes it a concession, a gesture, an instinct of politeness. History lesson for the morning. I turned the water off and slid into the tub. My face began to sweat. "I'm in the bathtub, Shane," I said. "Are you naked?" she asked. "Well, I would be normally, but since I knew I would be talking to you, I went out and slipped into a modest bathing suit." She knew I was kidding. It made me very horny to admit to her I was indeed fully naked. "I am totally naked," I admitted. Shan told me that she slept well, that she was not scared in her new old home as she thought she would be, but, she said, at exactly 6 a.m. there came a ticking sound from inside her wall. Shan explained that it sounded like a typewriter. "Nobody uses typewriters anymore," I told her. At exactly 6:01, I was taking off all my clothes and going to bed. Johnny McKeon was buying donuts. The contained MI plague strain 412E was dying off, but managed to wriggle around on 3 slices of Stanpreme pizza we threw in the dumpster, where it wormed its way down to the esophagus of its last initial carrier, a homeless man named Hungry Jack, who participated in the killing of an entire village of women, elderly people, and children in Vietnam. All the Jungfrau was probably masturbating. All Wang Xing was taking a shit. Something was ticking inside Shan Collins' wall. She said the ticking stopped after a moment. Shan used the words like a moment. The way she talked made me horny. I told her if the ticking came again, maybe she could record it on her phone because I'd like to hear it. She told me she would do that. I shaved. The pancake house is busy this morning, my mother said when she pulled in front of the Ealing Mall. Then she said, we should eat breakfast there sometime. Okay, Mom, I said. If you want a donut, Johnny always brings coffee and donuts in for me and Ollie Jungfrau on Saturdays. Johnny McKeon is such a nice man, my mother said. Yes, I agreed. Johnny takes good care of us. She parked almost as far away from the second-hand store as you could get and still be in the Kimber Drive. My mother was not very steady-handed at squeezing our Chevrolet between slotted cars and parking lots. I wore a Modest Mouse t-shirt. The shoes were salvaged from the roof in the mall the night before. Clean boxers, Iowa plaid, and loose 501s with a belt. They smelled good. My hair was still wet from the bath I took. I did not like my jeans to droop like Robbie did. Boys at Curtis Crane Lutheran Academy were required to wear belts and matching socks. We would be called into Pastor Ronald Duff's office if our underwear showed. Lutherans in Iowa are very modest. What is a modest mouse? My mother asked. She had a stretchy thing on in her hair. It was green and looked like the waistband from a pair of fat guy's underwear. I didn't know what those things were called. You know, women from Iowa wear them in their hair. Her nails needed a new coat of paint. They were chipped or grown out around the edges. Apparently my mother's nails grow much faster than mine did. Real dynamos. She wore a green velour tracksuit with a zip-up top. I guess it would be called a tracksuit. I've never seen my mother run one time in my life. Who wants to run when you can kayak everywhere? Nothing, I said. I don't know. She parked the Suburban facing out toward the street directly across from Satan's Pizza. My mother was very calm that morning. Maybe all I needed was a tiny blue kayak to get things to fall into place for me. I decided I would ask Robbie if he'd ever gone kayaking on one of his mother's Xanax before. Probably not. Like me. Robbie never even got drunk before. But we could smoke cigarettes like real dynamos. Do you need one of us to come pick you up, sweetie? She asked. My mother called me sweetie when she was calm. When she said one of us, it meant she anticipated being drugged out by 5 and my dad could come get me. History does show that more of what we actually say is not contained in words anyway. That's why those cave guys simply stuck to the pictures of the big hairy things and shit like that. Robbie and I are going skating, I said. I'll call if I'm going to be late for dinner. My mother leaned over and kissed me. And that's all you get. Have a good day.